Okay guys, so I am getting ready to do a Powertex video. I'm going to try to make a frame that is going to fit our canvases. So what I did is I've cut some cardboard and I have cut some strips of styrofoam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the styrofoam to the cardboard and then the cardboard to the styrofoam. So we have two long ones and then two medium ones. So I'm going to get that done first. So I've got my glue gun kind of heated up, and we're just going to, and this is just basically something to help kind of hold it together. Once we get the Powertex on, you know, the hot glue is going to be a moot point because the Powertex is going to hold everything together. But in order to get my frame like completely designed, I need my pieces to kind of be glued together. So we've got one, so let's just, so it doesn't need to be a lot of glue, just enough that it's going to help hold our pieces firm, because this is going to all get covered with Powertex. All right, so we have one done. And I did have a request for this video. So, you know, there are some people that are interested. I've never done this. This is just something that I was thinking of, because sometimes when I'm painting, I don't always do my sides on my canvases. So, you know, it's kind of like an unfinished piece. So if I could make my own frames, then I could customize them to whatever I'm, you know, painting on that day, which would also help keep costs down on selling them with a frame, you know, versus without. So that's my hopes anyways, because I've still got to like 90-degree the edges, but I figured maybe if I had them glued together it would work. So those were the two long sides, and then this is going to be for the like the top and the bottom of the two shorter sides. And then not cut perfect, you know, the cardboard is a little bit smaller, but it doesn't matter because it's going to get all covered over with Powertex. So my other glue stick. And this is just so it, you know, it's starting the structure. So I ran out of the cardboard that was long enough. So this one I just cut two pieces. So, and that's the one beauty with doing the Powertex, because you can make it work. All right. And So I'm going to put this one here. Try not to stick my finger in the glue. And then we're going to put this piece on. So now we have, like, this is our canvas and this is the side. So it's, you know, pretty consistent with what I need it to be. All right, so on this particular one, I need to cut this at like a 45, and I'm just looking for something that I can use as a guide. Let me get my my level here. All right, so basically, I need to, is that how I need to cut it? Yes. Okay. And if it doesn't work, we'll just have to cut me another piece. All right, so I'm just going to cut. We're going to cut this corner off. So that gives us our first corner. And then this one has to get cut this way in order for that to match. So I'm gonna just, and basically what I'm doing is I'm just putting the end of my level at that first corner, just like that. And kind of like that. So this is one of the shorter pieces. Okay, now see how that matches? Okay, and then this one is got to go this way. So I'm gonna make a scored line so then I can cut this. And as I just drop that piece. All right, so we have one corner, and then this corner is also going this way. that should work there. All right, we have it almost done, guys. Hang on. This has got to be... Now, usually, you know, my husband's the one that makes things, not me. So, I'm thinking... This has to come more this way, I believe. You know, and at least when you're using, like, you know, cardboard and styrofoam, if you don't get it right the first time, you're not wasting, like, a piece of wood. Alright. Alright, so that's a little bit better. And let's see. So maybe it's these angles that have to be more. Oh, much better. All right, so we gotta cut this one. Okay, perfect. So I'm thinking if I take this, like this, then this should work for the bottom. Sit. I'm gonna have to have my husband show me a good way to make my mitered corners. Because, you know, I can do a lot, but usually when it gets to the technical stuff, I pass it on to him and say, hey, hon, I need this, and then he does it. But I want to be able to learn how to do them myself. Okay. Let's get all our junk out of the way. And we're going to put this at the top. Oh, I got to cut my bottoms. What the crap? So if I turn this one over, this should hopefully this works. I guess I forgot one whole piece here. Okay, and then we will cut this Now, let's see if our pieces align. No, this one goes here, and this goes here. Yay! It's gonna work. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start gluing these corners together. And that's just gonna make it so when I get ready to add my Powertex, my frame is already done and adhered. As I stick my finger in glue. Oh, I just dropped a piece. And then I can trim all this little extra. Okay. Oh, you know what I got? Hang on. On my other desk. Ouch. Are you kidding me? These are not big enough. These are not big enough. And get my other piece that fell here. And all right, so this is going to get cut back a little bit. See, you don't need to be professional. You don't need to know how to woodwork and do all that. You just need to have a basic idea of, you know, like the construction of something. Okay, so that works there. This one right here, I have to cut this way a little bit more. There we go. Yay, I did it, I did it. All right, so we're gonna put glue on this end and glue on this end. And we're gonna glue that together, just like that. So now we have a frame. So I'm gonna let that harden and cool, and then I will be back and we'll start trimming up some of the, you know, the pieces and get some of our Powertex going on it. So I will be right back. Okay guys, so I got this done. It's glued, it's like a frame, and my canvas fits in kind of snug in like 2 spots. So I know these corners here, I'm going to have to make sure I go thinner on the fabric on the inside. So yeah, that's my only concern. And it does fit better one way than the other. So if I put it this way, it goes in snug. But if I flip the frame over, it goes in a little bit easier. There is a little gap because I didn't get my lines perfect. But for the first, the first pass, I think I'm just gonna bend that back and try to cut some of this. Basically, I just want to see if this, is going to work or not. So if it does, then I will get, more precise measurements to make them. But this is like a trial piece. So I've got plastic underneath because Powertex does not stick to plastic. And I have some fabric all cut. And we're gonna pour our Powertex. I'm just gonna kind of scrape my stick here. And, where am I gonna put it? Where am I gonna put this? All right, I'm just gonna put it behind me on another piece of plastic just to get it out of the way. And because I was messing with it, I got little cardboard and little styrofoam pieces. So now we're gonna, so I buy the black Powertex by the big container. This is the 5 liter. And I do have a discount code for this for the US if anybody is interested in trying it. They have kits, they have small bottles, but with the black, I buy it by the big one, and then I just keep filling my container here. So I am going to put quite a bit, and then we're just going to stick that up there. All right. So again, this is non-toxic, but it is sticky as all get out. So I do wear gloves. So the first layer we're going to do is I want to get this part, all this inside piece. I want to get that done. So I'm just trying to see. Of course, I probably cut them all too narrow. All right, so I'm going to use these 2 bigger ones on these outer corners. That way I won't have to do it like a second layer per se on the inside. I just want to make sure that because this is the tightest spot, so I want that to definitely just go around once. Then I can add, stuff to the outside as we go. And then, so I do have a few bigger strips cut. So I just took a t-shirt and I just cut it in strips. All right, let's I guess let's just get started. So this is the side that you can see. So I will start with this side, and we're just going to put our fabric in, kind of rub it together to get that coated. And I have found that t-shirt material and sheet material work the best. Now you want to make sure that you get both sides coated, but you don't want it dripping too much. So usually if you get one side coated good and then you squish it together, you can get the coating on both sides. And this is weatherproof, but I don't need it to be because obviously it's, you know, it's a frame. So I'm just gonna tuck this under. And I'll do one side, and then we'll have to go around and finish up the outer sides. But for right now, I want to get like the inside frame done. So I do have another project that I want to try doing after I get this one done. I want to make some sort of like almost like a floral wreath, but like a hat. All right, I'm just going to try to pull this down a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing on this side. So again, I'm just going to get this so that it's like right at this corner, and underneath and I do want this first layer to be like a smoother layer, and then we'll add things to texturize it after. All right, so this one was a pretty good size. Oh. I'm just trying to get it so that like this outer edge is all covered. And I'm going to pull this side around. Just, I have some shorter pieces here. All right, let's, all right, so yeah, this is messy, but it's fun. And I thought I had cut all the, like the ribbed piece, but I didn't. So I'm cutting that off because I know this is, you know, kind of that crucial, it's got a, I don't want it too thick, and I don't want to be too much texture on one side or the other, because I do want this to be able to lay somewhat, you know, flat up against a wall. So I'm putting another piece over to hold that first wrap around on. And then I'll just bring that up on this edge here. So now we have this wrapped around all the way. And then I can pick whatever side I decide that, you know, I want it to be for the front. All right. Yeah, and if you do this, make sure you keep an old pair of scissors for just your Powertex, because, yeah, they do get pretty grody. And let me see. I'm just going to cut. Let's cut that about there. And then I'm going to cut just a little bit off. Let's get that wet and we will see how that works. And at the top, it's not as bad. I know those were my two crucial areas. So that's why I wanted to start there. So I knew that I wasn't going to make that too big. And then again, I'm just kind of overlapping this just a little bit to fill in that little bit of a gap. And that way I won't have to, we can just add things to the front after, you know, to give us that texture. All right, so, well, we might as well do this, then I can flip it. And all right, I thought I had cut all the ribs off, and I didn't. What the heck? All right. So normally I would try to cut like big sections, but because we're doing a frame, I decided to go with smaller strips, and now I'm kind of wishing I had left some big ones. Okay, so then we're gonna unravel this, and we're just gonna kind of flatten that out a little bit. And again, I'm going to start on the inside so that I know, because this is the crucial corner. So I want to make sure that we have just one layer on that inside. And this piece might not be big enough. gonna see here in a minute. All right, so it did go around both sides. So I'm just gonna like unroll this. You know, that's the thing with the t-shirt material. The edges want to roll up. And I'm trying to keep, you know, that from doing that. So we have got that done, and now I'll put this one on the other side. Oh, I got another little piece right there. Okay, now we're gonna come all the way to the end of the frame here. Gotta get it flat. And then we're just gonna run it along this, kind of like this outside edge. Because I've also got some of the mix to mold flowers that I had made. So, I mean, we can really get some good look, you know, on the front of this once we get the initial base down. Again. Just trying to get that unrolled, or flattened out, I should say, as much as possible. And let's see what we have for a little piece here. And we'll just put that on this corner here. All right, my hands are getting sticky, so I'm gonna wash. I'm gonna wash these, because you can only go so much, and then all of a sudden you're like sticking to everything. So I'm gonna just wipe the bulk of that off, and then we will continue on. All right, let's see. I'm gonna try to use some bigger sheets here. I do have a few bigger ones. I'll use that, because that should wrap around that. We'll try that. Yeah, so I was upstairs. I'm like, okay, I gotta grab some t-shirt and cut it up. And I probably should have done that down here to kind of, you know. So I'll get this half done, and then I'll pause the video, I'll finish getting it done, and then I will come back for like the next step that we're gonna do. All right, so I want to make sure that I'm trying to not go too thick. let's this. And just get that wrapped. So that will give us like a nice smooth section there. Let's see. I'll use those on the other side. I just want to finish. Okay, that can go there and there. So those will be those two pieces. All right, I just want to get this, both sides done on that 1/2 so that you guys can just, you know, see the whole process and yet not make the video too long. And you want to make sure your fabric is completely saturated, because if not, you're going to end up having some issues. So I'm just going to spin this around so we can get some more in here. And if you put too much in your bowl, you can always put it right back in the container after. So, and make sure your cover is wiped off really, really good, because if not, you will not get back into your bottle. I did buy their special bottle opener, and I am so glad that I did, because yeah, I would have been in a world of hurt. I'd have all this product that I couldn't use unless I cut the bottle. And that would have been no fun at all. All right, so now we're gonna lay this as flat as we can. I mean, if there's some, you know, rolled over spots, it's not that big of a deal. I wanted this first layer to be somewhat smooth. And then we can add our embellishments after. Okay. So that's got a little bit of a rib in it, and I'm fine with that. It is, you know, all nice and covered. And then we have that one spot on this part to do. Oh, I have this other half. I already, no, I need a bigger. I definitely need a bigger strip. Yeah, so once you have a bunch in there, it makes it so much easier to coat. And you don't want it too thick, because then it's going to take longer to dry, but you do, you know, you want a good amount on there. So I'm just going to spread this, and we're going to just start laying that down. Now, remembering not to go back into here. I want this to overlap the fabric, but not go into here, because I already know that's my tight spot. At the top, it's not going to be as much of an issue, because I have a little bit more play up there. but I do want it to overlap that first piece of fabric that we have down. And overlap the other one because that will lock them in. And if you get little pieces of styrofoam, it's not a big deal, guys. You know, this is one of those projects where you don't, precision isn't in the cards. It's just not. So, you know, if you're really OCD about everything having to be perfect, then this might not work for you. I have not had my daughter try it yet, and I'm sure she's going to struggle because she is OCD big time. All right, so I need a piece for this corner. So I'm going to cut this like right about here. For the other side, my piece was bigger. I was able to get the corner. This one here, I wasn't. So I am having to do that now. All right, so squeeze the excess. Sorry about my creaky floors above my head. Okay. All right, I guess we're gonna go this way. And flip this over. Scissors, and I'm gonna cut right there. So all my cardboard and styrofoam is covered there. Now I need this, just this little corner piece. So I'll just wrap it around, rub it down, and overlap. So now we have got half of our frame done, and I'm probably gonna let this set up a little bit before I continue, just to let it get a little bit tackier so that it's not falling off, because I want everything, you know, to be down and adhered. Because it doesn't take that long for it to set. But because I'm gonna, you know, still be moving this thing around, let me see. I gotta get the little pieces of fabric, because if that dries to it, I will not get that off. Are these my bigger? All right. These are my two bigger ones. Let's try and get this other corner down here. I'm on a roll, and I don't want to take my gloves off. So, you know, if you guys don't want to watch the whole thing, just fast forward through. It's fine. I just don't want to have to take my gloves off and continue when I've got more than half the frame done. So for this step anyhow, and then we'll let it dry. Just trying to get all that excess. And now, because I know I have more play at the top, I'm not going to worry as much with this having some texture in it. I'm not going to worry about that at all because I know we have more play up here than we did down at the bottom. So, like I said, if this works and looks good, I mean, I know it's going to work. It's just, is it going to look good? That's, you know, that's my biggest thing right now. All right, so got that there. I'll just move that over there. And I had another big right here. So let's get this, we'll get this side in. I'm just going to lay these two right down in that Powertex and get it coated good. And then rub it. Rub it and smush it in, all the good things. I'll get some on the other side. Okay, so this has got a cut in it, so I'm gonna start about there, and we'll wrap that. Oh my gosh, that is the worst thing. You almost need to have like a side table next to you to put your stuff. And I have got one of my oldest, most comfortable sweatshirt on. All right, so I'm gonna try and get that around the back, and then try to come in this way with this. Okay. Ooh. So that's what we're looking like so far on this section. So I just gotta smooth these pieces out. Come on, I got a piece of cardboard stuck to me here. So now I definitely know that the next time I would definitely cut bigger pieces, enough to like wrap it around once completely. So I need a little tiny piece here to go over this piece of cardboard, because you want all of the cardboard and styrofoam completely covered in material with the Powertex, because it's going to harden and that's what's going to give you your structure. Okay, so now we just have this bit, and then we're going to let this set up. All right, so I got a piece right here. So again, I need some more. I don't think I'll need as much this time because I've only got this little section to do. I mean, you could take a hairdryer and, you know, dry it, because all you need it's going to take 2 weeks for it to completely harden all the way through. So each day it will get a little bit stronger, but you want it to be at least touch dry to embellish, you know, start adding your embellishments to it. So I'm just going to start where, you know, I know that picture's going to go in, and smooth this out. And let's see. And I'm using a black t-shirt, so I'm going by feel. You can feel if you have a dry spot. So that's kind of why I'm really making sure that I'm, you know, stretching this out, because I want to make sure that it's completely coated. And then we're gonna put this piece over this piece. Kind of like getting this outside edge. And I'll have to flip this to do the other side, but I just want to make sure that I'm getting the outer edge right now. That's kind of, I guess maybe that's where I should have started, was getting the edge. That would have made it maybe easier, but you know, we could have taken these strips too and gone this way around it. I'm just now thinking about that. All right, so I got that on the edge. So I'll flatten this out. And then I can just, you know, add like little pieces here and there. Okay, I'm gonna wash my gloves. I'm getting too sticky. Actually, no, I might as well keep going the way I'm going. Get this other outside edge done. I don't want to change midstream, because then I'll have one section look different than the rest of it. So yeah, just keep going this way. All right, so I'm gonna get that. That. So now I'll put this one right in there. Is that one big enough? No, but we'll put that there. Now I'm hoping I'm not making this corner too tight. Because I got so many paintings that I don't have the edges done, that I can find one that I like in my office, and then I will just put this. All right, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna get this edge done. I'm gonna cut this piece off. So right now I'm kind of going by feel on the other side. Okay. And put that. Cut this. And hopefully that'll be long enough. And then we'll flip it, and we'll only have like that little bit left to do. So I'm just kind of patting that down. I'm just kind of smoothing it. And if you don't have quite enough, just pick some up with your finger and smooth over it, and you should be good there. So this side is all nice and complete. So we have, trying to get it so you guys can see, the whole thing is done, except for I'm losing my plastic here. I should have taped the plastic together. All right, so now we just gotta flip this over and just so we can finish this little bit here at the bottom. This piece, which will cover that, and we have this, and this piece will get this done, and then we will be done. I'm going to cut this little rib off though. So this was just a youth large t-shirt, and you can see I still have fabric there. So I'm just going to pour a little bit on top of these pieces. Like that. And my sweatshirt is hanging in it. That's why I have my old sweatshirt on, because I know how messy I get. All right, so we're gonna get this stuck down there. And then I'm just stretching it so it's going over the other fabric, even if it's not completely smooth. That will just give us texture. Now I'm gonna open this ribbing up a little bit and bring that further in, just so we have a good overlap. Because remember, we were doing this from feel on the other side. Okay, and we've got this last little bit right in here. So, and then I'll give it maybe an hour, and then we can come back. I mean, technically I could, you know, pick a side and be like, yeah, that's going to be my front, and we could start embellishing it. So let me just kind of hold this up to see where we're at, what we're looking like. Okay. So that's one side. And that's the other side. Don't know. I think I'm gonna use this as my front. And so we might as well start embellishing. We're already here, we're already sticky, and then I can just let it dry, and then we can come back and color it. So I have got all different little mix to mold pieces that I have made, and we'll just stick that in the middle. And I guess we'll put that there because we're going to need some more Powertex. I do want to, well, I'll get the rope after. Let's put a little bit more Powertex in here, and let's start adding our little pieces. Okay, so I've got some different size flowers, leaves rather, not flowers. So we can kind of just making sure I have enough to, so I can, you know, it's a frame. I want them to somewhat match. So I have 2 there. So I could put them there. Then I can, you know, figure out what else I want to add in here. And so we have some different types of flowers. Let's see, we've got 2 of these. 1, 2. Two of these. So I guess we got 2 and 2. Oh, that's similar. So we have like a big one and a little one. All right. So we'll do the 2 bigger ones at the one corner, 2 smaller ones at the other. And then I have these type of leaves. So I'm thinking hang on, I'll do this side so you guys can see what I did over here. So I just kind of put one like that, one like this. Oh, I'm going to space them further. All right. Just trying to... All right, so this is like a bigger rose. Or do I just do one of these? Yeah, I'll do that. And that. And then we'll just, so where I'm putting them, then I'm just going to take them, I'm going to dip them in the Powertex, I'm going to put them, and I'm going to let them dry. That's going to be the last little bit. And since we're using somewhat different flowers, do that. Maybe I'll do 2, a big one, kind of a big and a little. Do the big and the little up at the top as well. All right. So that is what we're going to embellish it with. I was going to try adding some rope and stuff, but let's just keep this one somewhat simple. We do have some texture already on our piece from where our pieces meet. So yeah, let me just put a little bit more Powertex in here. Oh, there's already some, never mind. Oh, hang on, I just dropped a piece. So we're just gonna completely cover it. And we're gonna stick it down. So these I made with just mixed a mold. Nothing too, it wouldn't stick to resin because I think resin would be considered a plastic. Although if you did, if you had some already made, you could probably glue them. In fact, I was going to try to take out some of my embellishments that I had made in some of my previous videos, and I'm just now thinking of that too. So basically I'm just getting it on my glove now and coating it, sticking it where I want it, because this also works as a glue. So the only thing is, if you want your texture to show on your leaves, you've got to make sure that you don't have too much of the Powertex. Like this one here was a bit much, so I'm just kind of trying to wipe some of that off so that we will see the lines of the leaves. So pretty much what I have left in my hand, I'm just going to use to get these down. We'll just push them. Now I'm nervous. Is my picture going to fit? Oh, goodness. If it doesn't, I will... yeah, we'll have to use a smaller one, and then I'll have to come up with a way of making like a, oh, what do they call those? You know, like a border around it. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, well, we're so dang close to being done. We might as well just get it done, let it dry, and then we can kind of get it colored. And I mean, you could do this if you, like, if you didn't want to color it, you could do it in a different color Powertex. They have all different colors. And then they have white that you could actually mix like acrylic paint in. So, yeah. I just like the look that you get with the black. Because we will go over the whole thing. We're going to brush coat it. Come on, get in there. Okay. You know, and my placement might not be exact, you know, but that's the beauty of, you know, having it handmade. There will be a little bit of difference. I'm trying to get them, you know, similar placements, but right, guys. Now we let this dry, and those will be all adhered. And then we will come back and see how it's looking and if I have to add anything else or whatever. But I just want to get this little bit back in my container here. Okay. Wipe that. I'm going to let this just dry like that because that will peel out. And we will be back when this is dry. So let me get these gloves off. There we go. Alrighty, guys, I will see you in about an hour. Okay, guys, so it's been just a little over an hour. Most areas are touch dry, so it's still a little bit bendy, but it's gonna take time to. So I'm using this canvas because I still have the plastic on it. So. Okay, so that is going to fit in the frame. So we do have some sort of a gap around, especially the top. So we're gonna have to put something on this inside corner. So let me, we'll get it covered, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lift it up a little bit, so there'll be like a little tiny lip all the way around that we can put something. So I know now it's going to work. Now it's just to get our pieces so they are, exactly the dimensions. But let's see what we can get this to look like before I go there. So I'm not going to finish on the inside because I want to add some more Powertex embellishments. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this canvas in there. Because it's plastic, it won't stick to it. So I'm just going to put my plate on top. We'll just use that as a surface. So I just pulled out a bunch of different colors. I've got 2 greens. I got a white. I have a ruby. I got a pink. I've got silver, chestnut, yellow, and I've got a gold nugget. So we're going to see. I mean, it's going to be mostly green for the leaves. And I do want to color the frame something. I think I'm going to brush the frame with the silver because I know it will match my home decor. So I'm just going to take a flat brush. It's a soft brush. And we're going to take some of the Powertex. It's called Easy Varnish. And this is what you use to mix your colorants with and give it a seal. And I'm only going to brush I want some of that black to show through. So we're just going to put a little bit right there. And then I'm going to take some of the silver and I'm just going to put the bottle in the plate. So I'm going to wet this kind of on both sides. I'm going to stick it right into the mica, and then I'm going to brush it on the plate. And then I'm just going to kind of pat it a little bit. This out of the way so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to lightly coat this. So I'm just kind of, that way there, it's going to have some of the silver, but the black is still going to show through. And then we'll just pick up a little bit more. And if you don't wipe your brush off, you'll have more. And I'm just using like the very end of the brush. I'm not going in heavy-handed at all. I'm just going over those, like any high spots. So I apologize, guys. I know this video is long, but I also know because it's a fairly new product, and I do have some people, you know, that are interested, and, you know, maybe they want to try. I want them to see all of the steps because it's really, really easy. It's whatever your imagination can come up with, you can make. And you're using cardboard, styrofoam, you know, things around your house, glass, any of that type of stuff. You know, and generally you can do a project kind of in one day. It just depends on like how big it is, and, you know, what effect you're trying to come up with. All right, now that's way too much. So I'm just going back into that silver. Brush some of it off. And I'm going around my little flowers and leaves and whatever's there. And this is just like regular mica powder that I use in my resin projects. They do have their own colorants, but you can use, you know, what you have. So you could literally just buy a bottle of the Powertex and be able to start creating all kinds of gorgeous little projects, you know. And I am all for making stuff that I know I'm not going to walk into a friend's house or a relative and they're going to have the same identical thing. You know, because how boring is that? So this is making it look really antique kind of looking. Like I said, I'm not brushing it solid. I'm just giving it that silvery, I don't know what to call it. The only thing that's coming to mind is like a goth look, and it's really not. It's almost like an old Victorian kind of look. You know, something that you would have seen like way back in time. You know, that looks like it's very vintage and that type of look. All right, I do want to get a little bit in between my, you know, my flowers and my leaves. And I'm, you know, I'm just going in different directions. So now I'm barely getting any of that color because I still have quite a bit on my brush. So I'll wait until this dries up quite a bit before I put one of my actual paintings in. So it might take an extra day for this video to actually upload, just so that I can, you know, you'll see the process, but then at the end, you'll be able to see it with an actual picture, painted picture in there. All right, so the one thing that I did forget to grab, and I will just grab that right now, is a cup of water to wash off my brush. Oh, I don't want to use that one because that one is all sticky. We'll just use this one. It doesn't need to be a big, you know, just something that you can clean one color off to the other. So I'm just gonna put that in my water. And then, you know, especially if you're going like a contrasting color, you definitely want to change, you know, wipe your brush down. If it's a similar color, you can just kind of keep it the same. All right, let's start getting our leaf color in. And this is just Leo Bro green mica powder. We'll do the same thing. I'll just put my brush, my container here, pick up some of the green, and we'll just, now because I want the green to be a little bit more vibrant, I'm not going to wipe my brush off this time. And I'm just going to wipe over these leaves. Just over the tops, that's all I'm doing. Now, I could have done this whole thing in like an antique gold or an antique brass. You don't have to add, you know, different colors if you don't want. It's all a personal preference. So I'm just going to pick up just a smidge more and that green. And some might have a little bit more of the green, the darker green than others, and that's, you know, that's totally fine. And I'm just going over the top. Some of that black is actually coming through. Now I pulled out two greens. I don't know if I will use both. We'll see here in just a minute. I'll just kind of see how it's looking. All right, now we'll clean our brush again. Wipe it off, dry it off on a paper towel. And let's see. All right, let's try a little bit of the lighter green and just see if we can, oh, and this one is Lawn Green by Let's Resin. I've never even used this one. Let me just get a pokey thing. And we'll do the same thing. We'll just get a little bit of the Easy Varnish, stick it in here, and then we will let's see, a little bit more. It's really not showing. I think maybe it will show once everything dries a little bit. Like on these ones, definitely. Just so it has, I don't know, a little variation in there. All right. So I'm gonna wipe that brush off, and let's do, I'm thinking I'm gonna go with the ruby, on some of these, and maybe some yellow on some. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna get a little bit smaller. Let's see. All right, we'll try this one. It's a little bit narrower. So again, we're gonna put it in the Easy Varnish. Stick it into the red, and that's a little bit too dark. I'll just wipe that off, and then we'll go into this pink. This is a nice shimmery pink, so maybe this will show up much better. Let's see. Do those, we'll do those two in pink, and the one thing I have not tried is the white, so I'm going to actually try some white on and as I drop some mica powder. All right, so let's just try, because these are kind of like a daisy. Oh, that actually looks kind of good. And it does show up a little different, you know, than the silver. And I think I'm just gonna go a little, just to kind of give a little bit of an accent to these pinker ones there. And then I can always go over it again with, you know, some color. I'm gonna take this round brush and we're gonna try to put our, the centers in, but I'm gonna use chestnut and yellow just to give that a little bit more dimension. So I'm gonna start with a little bit of the chestnut. And I'm just gonna put a little bit. I don't want the whole center, the chestnut. I just want like a little bit. And wash that. And then we will go into the yellow. So it kind of is giving like, a little bit of difference in the centers. All right. And I think I'm gonna put the 24 karat gold, even though I have nothing gold in my house. I think that this gold will look really pretty on them flowers. So I'm definitely gonna have to like let it dry and do like a second coat probably, but all right, and this is not, so I've just got that easy varnish on my brush, and I'm just dipping it into that gold just a little bit, just so we're getting a little bit of that 24 karat gold sparkle. So let me use this light green with this small brush and see if we can maybe get a few little details in these flowers. Because I'm thinking more like on the outside edge of the flowers. And I've just got to go over all of them so that they, you know, in case it shows up, it kind of blends and matches. All right, so let's kind of stand this up and see where we're going. Because my first thought was I was just going to do the whole thing like a bronze. And then I was like, no. Got mica powder everywhere here. And I don't think you guys can really see. Look at the color. Let's see. If I put it on easel, maybe. Now you could actually, you know, kind of see it. Can I zoom in? Of course not. Hang on, guys. There we go. So yeah, you can, so you can definitely see how it's antiqued. I'm dying to see what it looks like up against the wall. I definitely want to do something different with my flowers. I want them to be, I don't know. I guess I'll have to put it up and see. So basically what I'm going to do now, let me slide you guys back here so I can explain what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take some twine and I'm probably going to double it. So it'll, you know, I'm going to do like this. And then I am going to put this around this outer edge. So this will be in black, and then when it dries, I'll come through with the silver and just highlight that again. Just so that it fills in that little bit of a gap that we have kind of going around. So yeah, I might end up even doing something maybe a little thicker. Let me see if I did it, say 3 times, like a braid almost. Kind of like that. Oh. Yeah, and if my fingers would work, because once this is all wet, it will stay. Yeah, I think 3. So what I'll do is I'm just going to cut, you know, like I'll kind of go around. And then I'll triple it, and then I'll add some to that. So that's 2. Because when we twist it, you know, it's, well, it shouldn't shrink. So I'll just do that. I'm going to Powertex it. I will get that adhered. And then I'll get it finished off, and then I will take some final photos for you. But I just wanted to explain what I was going to be doing next. I'll get that in, get that done. I'll take a picture of it with this, and then I will put an actual picture in and take a picture of it on the wall so you can see the final result. Alrighty, guys, I will see you on the next. Let me know what you thought of this project. I'm really curious to see, and we will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.